start all the time. We are live. Let's go.
We are live. How are you doing, Martin?
I'm doing amazing. What about you, Michael?
I'm kind of super today.
Okay,
I'm really
great.
kind of super. What's our filming day? It's normally Fridays.
Friday, yeah. So we are Friday today. So that's why a new
Thank God
episode.
it's Friday. Welcome back to eCommerce Undercover.
Welcome back.
It's good to be here. And who do we have today with us? Today's going to be a special one, right? We have a special guest.
Very
Who's
special.
our special guest today? Yuming Pu,
Yeah.
a student at Neon Polytechnic in
Yes.
Singapore. I love this. She's an intern for eCommerce Undercover, and she's done some pretty incredible work on who's been funded globally
Mhm.
in the e-commerce space.
Yeah. So it's the company who announced that they
Announced,
raised funds
right.
in the media.
Oh, okay.
In the e-commerce space. So of course we don't know all the deals, right? But we gathered with Yumin like all the deals that have been announced on the media for e-commerce companies who raised funds in the last 6 months.
She's also done a little bit of analysis on this as well, right?
Yeah,
So breaking
exactly.
it down into categories.
Exactly, yeah. So there's analysis, there's a lot of great information, and I'm looking forward to this episode to talk about that.
I cannot wait to see.
Great.
Yuming, are you ready?
Yeah, definitely.
I was born ready. Okay. If there's anything else you want to say about you, that's great. If not, we can just jump right into what I see on the screen, investments in e-commerce. Go for it.
Yep, I'm ready to start.
Go for it.
Okay. So basically, based on my research on the e-commerce industry, so a total of $20 billion have been raised in the e-commerce industry in the past 6 months. And this is 2.5 times more than the amount of funding that we have raised since our last research during the first half of 2021.
Oh my God. What did you say, 2.5 times?
Yeah.
Yep.
And like I remember when I saw like what was the amount last time? It was like 8 billion, something like that, I think. And I remember when we saw these figures,
We
of
thought that
8
was
billion,
big.
we thought it was huge, right? And now on the same time frame, it's $20 billion. Like,
So you didn't extend this into a year. You just took the
No.
same time period
exactly, same time period.
and said globally who announced and how much money did they raise.
Exactly.
And we're using the same categories. So we can actually go back and make a comparison to
Exactly.
the previous report.
And actually, she did
$20
that.
billion?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's
huge.
really fascinating. Go ahead.
Yeah, so these are the categories that I have for the money invested for companies targeting online sellers and online shoppers. So for companies targeting online sellers, they basically work on how to help business owners increase their profits by making their businesses more efficient, or those targeting online shoppers who work on how to improve the online shopping experience to make it more accessible and transparent. And most of these categories,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, most of these categories targets both online sellers and shoppers, as you can see, but we'll dive deeper into them later on.
So it's fascinating to me, Martin, that, excuse me, one of the premises of e-commerce undercover is that e-commerce is not solved yet. And yet look at the amount of money invested in marketplaces.
Yeah, that's huge. And you want to talk about something that is even more interesting, is that marketplace was not even a category in our last research. Zero. Like it did not exist. It was not in. So like it's really insane. I'm really looking forward to this category when you are going to explain to us what's going on into marketplace.
I'm just going to be quiet now. She said we're going to dig deeper into it. I guess that's cue for Michael. Please be quiet.
Like, can we just quickly, like, what are the 8 categories? There's back-end operations, buying and scaling brands. Like we talked a lot about that already, right?
Right.
We did a few shows about that. Then we have conversational commerce. We have financing and payment, right? Then marketplace, that was not a category last time.
Unbelievable.
We got social commerce, DTC website, and tools and features. Okay. Great.
Super.
Let's see what's inside.
Let's see what's inside.
Yeah. But before I show you what's inside, I have split the fundings into the regions of the specific companies. So with India leading, they have $7.4 billion raised, followed by North America with $5.99 billion raised, and Europe next in line, and so on. Yeah.
Fascinating.
So once again, like we use media to get the information. So like, and a lot of information is from TechCrunch. So that's why, like, I think the North America is highly represented, right? So I think we got to be a little bit careful about these figures, but still, like, just to see like North America is so big and India that's huge as well. I think that's kind of interesting.
I want to make a point here, though.
Mm-hmm.
I like to create these hypotheses. I can
Mm-hmm.
be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about population. So Southeast Asia is 600, let's call it 700 million people.
Yeah.
India, 1.2, 1.3 billion people. So the fact that they're the highest is not so
Mm-hmm.
surprising. Now, China doesn't even appear on this map. But one of my theses is that China is such a domestic market that they're, first of all, they're not reporting necessarily all of their funding in English-speaking media. So we may just not know.
Yeah.
Right? And Africa, look, is just starting to grow.
Yeah, right.
We know that, right? And
Yeah,
Europe
yeah.
obviously is going to announce because they want people to know about it. But this is it tells more of a story than just the money that's being raised. Yeah,
Exactly.
I like it.
Perfect.
What's next?
Next will be our first category, the back-end operations. So this category targeting both online sellers and shoppers, which is the second largest category after marketplace, with $3.99 billion raised for the companies. Yeah. So this is a very large amount raised, up by 2.5 times compared to our previous research, where only $1.6 billion was raised. And most of this funding is used for the expansion of logistic firms serving rural markets and offering affordable services to online businesses, as well as the on-demand delivery using the quickest way. So I've noticed that all sellers face similar challenges, such as how should they handle logistics, handle their delivery data from their website, and ensuring that they have enough inventory to prevent situations such as out of stock. So this requires a strong back-end infrastructure to have automated management of all these processes. And companies that work on connectivity allow for cross-platform communication and the transfer of business information between different parties in the supply chain. And shipping duration and cost are also important to a seller. It is best to have fast delivery, such as same-day delivery and affordable shipping costs, so their profit margin is higher, and convenience delivery to customers where their logistic firms provide services to online sellers, such as drop shipping, last mile delivery even to the rural areas, real-time status of delivery, and transparency to gain customer trust. And many companies are targeting the rural areas to make services accessible for them. And a common feature provided is the live tracking of parcels.
I
And
think the
quick commerce
rural.
also.
Sorry.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But yeah, like I think the rural area is very very interesting because there's so much things to be done. By connecting these farmers, for example, in France. I love to take this example of the
Yeah.
of the farmers who create awesome cheese, for example. But like they got to go physically inside every little market to sell their cheese. But if tomorrow we can connect them like with people in the next city or in
Right.
the next country, like this is such a huge opportunity for them to expand online. I love it.
It also this idea, right, of focusing on rural. What does it mean about the state of e-commerce?
Mhm.
It must mean that in the major cities and in the non-rural areas, in the urban areas, it's already mature
Yeah, right.
because they figure, okay, we've basically not solved it, but we've made it available to everybody in the urban areas. Now, what do we do?
Yeah.
Right, because investors are always after growth. So if they're going to invest money in something, they want to invest it in a place where they feel like they have the most possible returns, where their ROI is going to be the highest. And it feels like what Yuming's learned is that that's in the rural areas,
Yeah.
where people are more spread out, but they're willing to pay for access to product.
And also like with the whole world going to a more healthy lifestyle, like
Yeah.
eating better, doing some sports and all of that. Like once again, if we can eat local from our local region, but
Sure.
buy online and get the same kind of easiness, of delivery and all of that. Because right now, if you want to buy vegetables in France from a farmer, you get to drive from the city to the farm,
Right.
which is like 30, 45
Minutes away.
minutes away
Yeah.
in the mountains. It's not like a highway, right? So it's like not easy at all. So that's why these farmers, they got to come to the market once a week or twice a week to sell their vegetables, right? But if tomorrow we get marketplaces, for example, or somehow we can buy online directly to the farmers and get same day delivery,
Yeah.
then everybody wins. And this is a huge challenge. Like, how can we handle the logistic part? So that's why I'm not super surprised that they are investing into that. But I think this is like such a great opportunity for everybody to get better products at the end of the day.
I agree. And you're also making me want to fulfill my dream of spending 3 months every year in France so I can drive through the mountains to pick up my cheese and my vegetables. Stop saying this stuff.
Okay. I stopped talking about cheese and wine and
Come
all of
on,
the
man.
great things farmers in France have. But yeah, like great. And actually, like, what did you say? You mean it's 1.5 times bigger than the previous?
2.5
times.
2.5, yeah. So it just shows that like e-commerce like keeps growing a lot.
It
If we need
keeps growing.
bigger infrastructure to handle the logistics, it means we have more orders, right?
And when did we do our last report?
It was the first and second quarter of 2021, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. What's next?
Yeah, so there are companies targeting online shoppers as well. So basically, they are like quick commerce startups, which seems to be an emerging trend now, as they provide fast delivery to online shoppers. And there are many automated innovations, such as drones or robots delivery, to reduce human labor.
I think drones is a very interesting topic.
I'm going to make a prediction about quick commerce.
Tell me, Michael.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. They can, because we went through this in New York. I don't know. It must have been in 1990 something or the early 2000s. There was a company called Cosmo.com, and their idea was they would hire these bike messenger guys and gals to just deliver whatever you wanted in like 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay.
Of course, technology today is much more advanced, but time hasn't changed.
Yeah, and drones, for example, like another example, like Jeff Bezos announced that for Amazon, what, like
5 years ago, something like that?
something like that, right?
Yeah.
And do we have Amazon delivering by drones yet? No. So that's why I'm really curious about what these companies are doing and what they think they can do better than Amazon, right? Like, that's a very interesting.
Yeah. So
question.
in my mind, quick commerce is just a quick way to lose quick money for investors.
Let's see.
We don't know, but I've been right before. Okay.
Yeah, so here are some companies that are doing in this category. So first is ShipBlue, a logistic firm that have raised 2.4 million in seed funding, and they offer fulfillment services to brands, connecting the brand's online store and monitoring their orders. So customers are charged based on the size, destination, and shipping speed of the parcel, with options such as same day or 3 to 5 day shipping, where the affordability of the price is based on the customer's choice. Yeah.
Got it.
And next is Starship Technologies, a quick commerce startup, which has raised $57 million in funding to further its growth and work on sustainable transportation. Yeah.
What does that mean? Sustainable. What does that mean? Sustainable transportation.
Like there are many now there are many electric vehicles, right? Yeah, so they are working on that to reduce the carbon transmission.
Got it. Okay.
And what does robot on demand delivery?
Sorry.
What does that mean? Like robot on demand delivery?
It's like they use robot vehicles to do on-demand delivery, so people can order it and they'll get the delivery done within like 15 to 30 minutes kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically they use like their self-driving delivery robots to deliver things such as food and other goods, which is very good now because everyone wants contactless delivery to minimize the spread of COVID-19. Yeah.
Is that true? Like, is there a millennial desire, and even after the millennial generation desire, to have contactless delivery? There is, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting to me. I don't care at all. I don't care at all. And I've been saying this for years now, though. I don't think it's an age thing. You can make whatever joke you want. But
I won't.
But I want my delivery done by like a guy or a gal.
Okay.
Someone that smiles. Do you know what I mean? It just makes me feel better. But I understand this, but I will go on record here. I know that there's a lot of money being raised. $57 million is a lot of money, but WeWork raised a lot of money too. It doesn't mean it's going to be around in like 3 or 4 years, not in the same shape. But anyway, go ahead. I interrupted you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it for back end operations.
Interesting.
Perfect. Let's see what's the next category. I think.
Yeah.
We good?
Okay.
For this one.
Yeah. So the next category is buying or scaling of brands. And this category only targets online sellers with $3.3 billion raised, an increase of
Wow.
1.4 times from the previous research.
Right.
Right. And last time it was already huge, right?
Last time it was too big, and now it's too much bigger. But it's so interesting. It's so interesting how much money is actually getting thrown at this stuff. And we can see I think one of the really interesting things about these types of studies, right? And I think Yuming's doing a really good job of pointing this out, is that there's this trend that happens, right? And as that trend rises, more and more money gets thrown into it, whether it's worth it or not, right? Because people don't want to be left out. This idea of FOMO is real.
Yeah, like I'm not in the head of the investors, but like this model of buying and scaling brand did not exist 3 years ago.
No,
There
it
was
didn't.
nothing, right? Like
Nothing.
all of those companies raised billions and billions of dollars in like such a short period of time.
Right.
And to be fair, we had two of them on eCommerce UnderCover, right?
We did.
Like you can go back in our previous episode and
look at it.
and
Opontia, right?
with Opontia and Elevated Brands, like
right, Elevated Brands as well.
he came on the show and they talked about what they're doing. And one thing that I remember that really like shocked me was like they did not buy so much brand yet. So they had a lot of money, they raised a lot of funds, but they did not have a lot of company to buy or yet, like right, it's still growing. So which means that the investors give them money without really having, yet the potential to spend the money and to acquire brands, which is I think a very interesting way of doing business.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised when we spoke to Opontia. That guy was brilliant.
Oh, both guys, Brands and
Right.
Poncha was
They
like
were
super,
both
super great.
brilliant, right?
Yeah.
But I remember asking him with this anticipation, like, how many brands have you bought? I wanted him to say 40 or 50.
Yeah.
And I think he said, like, this was months ago now.
Yeah,
I think he said like 3.
Yeah, it was very, very small number.
Yeah, I was surprised.
It was very small number. So yeah, I was surprised as well. But yeah, that's very interesting because we do that all over the world, right?
Yeah,
like
everywhere.
now it's like global.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So most of these brands, they reach a scale, and after which it becomes too difficult to scale for them. So e-commerce aggregators will come in and acquire these brands, help them scale and sell to marketplaces, where most companies will buy promising brands on Amazon or Shopify and scale them. And it's a crowded market, so companies must have a business model that differentiates themselves. Yeah, so one company that's different, for example, is e-commerce brands. They raised a $40 million investment this round, and they operate by acquiring DTC brands to grow them in revenue and profitability.
Interesting.
So these TC brands are limited in their scaling and technology. So it is an opportunity for e-commerce brands to add in their technology and let operators run their businesses.
So this is new because last time that we talked about buying and scaling brands, we were only focused on Amazon brands, like Amazon distribution. So all the distribution was done by Amazon through the Amazon fulfillment network, through the Amazon marketplace for sales. So like all was done through the Amazon ecosystem. But now that they go to DTC and you mentioned Shopify as well, like this is another type of potential target to acquire, right? This is really new because then if you don't go through Amazon, then the difficulty is a little bit higher because you need to handle the logistics and the shipping and all of that by yourself, right? But I remember that Opontia, they told us that they were also looking at DTC, right? But it was early, like right now it's really new that they also focus on DTC and not only Amazon ecosystem brand, let's say.
Right, and one of the things I said, of course, is that Amazon's not available, right, in the Middle East and in some of the markets where they're already operating, right?
Yeah, right.
Fair enough.
So we lost your screen, you mean? I don't know what happened.
Oh, you lost my screen?
We lost your screen. Can you maybe try to share it again, maybe?
Yeah, okay. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Are you still able to see?
Okay.
Okay.
On our side, we don't. Oh.
Does it look like it's sharing? There it is.
Okay, great.
It's back.
It's back.
Okay.
Are you
So
able
what
to
is?
see the screen?
Yeah, can do. So
Ah,
what is the
okay.
Razor Group?
Yeah. So Razor Group is another company that they does buy up Amazon merchants and integrate them into a wider operation. But afterwards, they transform and move away from the Amazon marketplace with their
Oh,
goals to become more diversified.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
so that's actually an interesting, and that's a
Yeah.
new strategy as well.
That's a very new strategy as well. Like that was not again that what they were doing before, right? So
But this is interesting to me because we talked about this, right? In other words, do you really want to run your business and rely on Amazon as a way for your brand to get discovered?
yeah.
And we talked about this earlier, right? This idea that you need to have your own brand equity. And if you're relying on discovery on Amazon, it's going to be hard. But why not then take a bunch of successful brands that are there and then build your own marketplace that's separate?
Yeah. So either build your own marketplace or either build your own DTC brands or either expand to new markets. Like if you sell exclusively in the US, for example, like you might have huge opportunity in starting to sell in Europe.
Right.
And then expand that and use the funding that they provide to expand into new markets or to build your own DT stores using Dr. Tech, of course, and
Right.
and then it's expanding this way, right, and not only focusing on the Amazon ecosystem.
But one of the other things that we've learned is we start to put all these pieces together, right? With all the stuff that we learned by doing this, is that funding of product and of marketing ends up being a big deal, right? This is the guy we had on
Untapped.
Right, on Uncapped.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. So as we start to put all these pieces together, as they get scale, if they borrow money to handle their marketing and then be able to handle their inventory management, maybe it is better to be off of Amazon.
Right.
Anyway.
Perfect.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Yeah. So for conversational commerce, it have raised $78 million, but it is down by 1.3 times since the previous research.
Down or up?
Yeah, down.
Down. Interesting.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So this category solely targets online shoppers to solve their issues quickly, and it's important to increase customer satisfaction, and the key factors customer wants are speed and convenience. Conversational commerce provides customer support through automated chatbots and automated replies on social platforms. So, although human support may be required, simple issues can be solved by the AI, and this means 24/7 support is available for customers, and there are zero waiting times for human staff to tend to the issue.
Personally, I never want to talk to a robot.
That's my whole point, though.
Yeah.
This is why I don't think it's so. Everybody comes up with these sort of out of the box ideas, right? Like, I'm going to have birds fly my product over to your house, and it's going to be like Harry Potter with owls and all this. It's, there's going to be some guy playing Quidditch, like bringing stuff over to your house. But the reality is that nobody wants that.
Yeah, but I really love the idea that we had once again on eCommerce Undercover with Keta.ai, that they were building the AI to help the human respond faster.
It's the only way that's going to work.
And I think this is so much better because at the end of the day, you get a human. I think 24/7 support is not that hard at the end of the day. Like if you do it in for example, English-speaking countries, like you can build a support team that is going to be there 24/7.
Right.
But then if you can have the AI and the robot to help your support team to be faster, more efficient, then I think this is way better because you still at the end of the day get somebody who can answer and who can use a real brain, but it's still better than a robot.
Right. But the thing I love about this too is that I like to think about a bunch of investors sitting around at a bar or sitting around in a cafe chit-chatting with each other, right? And one lady says like, oh, I invested in this aggregation model, and another lady says, oh, I invested in this other aggregation business, and they're all happy because they're all in the same thing. And then there's one guy at the end of the table who says, hey, how about conversational commerce? How much did you put in that? And the guy goes, nothing.
Zero.
You're alone on this one. And that's what it feels like. Everything else is in the billions, and this is in the millions, less than a hunch, and lower than last time.
Yeah.
I think it means something. You mean that's awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have some examples of companies in the social commerce. So Zoe, for example, is an automated chatbot. It solves customer issues such as refunds, returns, or quality issues.
Interesting.
Where only complex requests will be diverted to a human staff.
Fair enough.
Such as relaying information on products or recommending suitable products for a customer. Yeah. So they raised 5 million in seed round to work on product development, marketing, and their sales.
And where are they based?
Hold on, give me a second.
It's okay.
So, yeah, so while you look at it, I feel like maybe I just an idea and tell me what you think about it, Michael. But maybe this is the problem for this type of companies is that they can maybe only target the small merchants who cannot afford to have a 24/7 team. But once you reach a certain level of revenue and profit, then it's not so hard to have like real people providing better support. So maybe like they cannot really, grow that big. What do you think about it? It's like, for example, like none of my merchants on Dr. Tech ever asked me for this kind of integration. Never, ever.
Right.
Like it never happened that they
No.
told to me about like, hey, Martin, we had this company doing that. That sounds amazing. Like, never.
Well, the market's telling you
Yeah.
that the necessity for this to exist is small.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It may be necessary in some cases, but not a lot of people are making a lot of bets that this is going to matter. Anyway. So, and what is Optimove?
Optimove is a company that offers customer relationship management marketing
CRM.
to satisfy customers and using artificial intelligence to send the right message to the right customer at the right time.
Got it. Okay. Interesting.
So like they are handling the conversation once you have the customer, and then they are helping this customer to buy more, I guess, at the end of the day. And that's great because like this customer, once you have them, then you don't need to spend any marketing budget to send them something, right? So if they can like buy more, that's pure profit. That's much better.
Okay.
Let's keep going.
Yep.
Financing and
So
payment.
the next category is financing and payment, which targets both online sellers and shoppers with $1 billion raised. Yeah, and most funding is raised in hopes to address the problems of unpredictable supply chains, logistic hiccups, and overall higher costs, as well as the difficulty in getting access to financial services. So this is done by providing working capital to online sellers when they need it to grow their business, especially for companies who are unable to get loans from traditional banks because they do not have enough credits.
Right.
Like, I think that completely makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
we talked. This is uncapped.
This is
at
what
scale.
What we talk about with uncapped. Actually, like they told us that they raised a few hundred millions, right? So
yeah, like there's not enough money in the world to fund all this stuff.
So it looks like there's not enough money. So maybe that real number might be much higher than
way
that.
higher than this. I think.
Way higher. I don't think that whole company announced that they are doing that.
No.
And yeah, like this is making definitely a lot of sense.
But
like,
the other thing that's important about this is that it's both for online sellers and online shoppers.
Yeah,
so it's funding on both sides. The BNPL, and we were talking about this a couple of days ago offline. This buy now, pay later thing, it's not new.
It's not new at all.
It's just that technology has now allowed people to systematically do BNPL, right?
And do it at scale online.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Online and offline.
Yeah.
In a way that makes sense.
Right,
Whereas before you'd like have to fill out some form and I'll come pick up the jeans in a month after I pay for them. And now it's just like, don't worry about it. We have your phone number.
Yeah.
And there's whole infrastructure around it. But the fact that it's both sides of the market means that this is probably not. Is this higher or lower than it was before?
Yeah, it's higher.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
And I think it will definitely keep growing because, like, for example, once again, like I have very few merchants on Dr. Tech who are asking that, but I think it's because there is no French company that is very big doing that, and most of our sellers are in France right now. So, like, just wait for the awareness of those, like American companies or UK companies just to extend to overall markets, and like we're gonna see much more much more sellers asking for this kind of solution. Like we already have a few integration with buy now pay later companies. Like for example, PayPal, like they launched it last year, and the integration is super simple. So like PayPal now through your PayPal account, you can offer a buy now pay later plan.
Right.
So like even the big companies move to that. So yeah, let's just wait a little bit until it expand more in terms of awareness, and I think we're gonna see that much more.
Absolutely.
Yep. So here are some examples of companies that are doing this. So the first one is Wayflyer. They raised $150 million to grow their business and provide loans to online businesses. So this company works on revenue-based financing where they get paid back faster if the debtor does well and has a higher revenue.
We should get them on the show.
For sure.
That's great information, Yumin. Go ahead.
Yeah. The company also uses a number of sources of data to provide insights and analytics to the customers.
Makes sense. Super interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah. So another company I have is Slope, which provides buy now, pay later services. The company has raised $8 million seed funding to build out the infrastructure for customer-centric experiences and to onboard more merchants. So they make it convenient for online shoppers to choose a suitable payment term at their checkout.
Do you have a company doing what Extend is doing with the Apple Care for non-Apple products? Have you been across company doing that? Like what they do is that they provide an Apple Care like insurance, let's say, where you can say like, hey, if you buy this microphone in my e-commerce store, then for the next 2 years, you can like if you have any problem, just send it back to me, and I will send you a new one. It's exactly like Apple Care, but for non-Apple products. Have you seen companies doing that when you were doing the research, or not really?
No, I have not come across any companies like that.
That's
So the
interesting.
one thing that I have seen is FWD, which is a big insurance company founded by, I think it's called the Pacific Century Group, which is based in Hong Kong. FWD is their insurtech, their take on insurtech. And they work very closely together with Samsung to provide something called Samsung Care.
Okay.
But it's company specific.
Okay.
So Extend is just like for everybody.
For every seller.
You're a merchant,
Yeah.
we'll cover you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But FWD is doing this, and they may, through their Boltec subsidiary, try to build this as well. But that's the only other one I've seen.
That's interesting because we don't see that a lot, but I think that's a great idea.
It's massive. Massive. Okay.
Let's see.
Go ahead.
Okay. So is our most interesting category marketplaces.
I feel like I need to back up because the number is so big.
That's like my first question is for doing what?
What?
Like what needs to be built as a marketplace nowadays? Like I'm really wondering, very curious. Like so
I have an idea. So go ahead.
Yeah.
I want to hear this, but then I have an idea.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So as you can see, it's an incredible amount of $8.6 billion. Yeah. This mainly targets online shoppers, but some companies target online sellers to create a B2B marketplace. And there are mainly wholesale marketplaces to connect suppliers to distributors for the easy access to supplies for the online sellers.
Yeah.
And this is good for many small businesses who face challenges when sourcing for goods, and they spend most of their time doing this. So the business model of B2B marketplaces allows them to not own any inventory. The company only facilitates transactions between suppliers and distributors without any capital investment. And these companies usually handle the logistics too, so that they are competing with quick commerce startups, which provide same-day delivery.
And how does this number compare to last year?
Yeah, as we said just now, there was like no marketplaces at all last year. So
I just want to be explicit about this. So here's what's happened, I think. Consumers have always wanted to participate in e-commerce because it's been easier and more convenient for them. But the reason why this thing just sprouted up in the last year is because businesses are going through this digital transformation forced on them by COVID. In the old days, guys and gals would get together and they'd have dinner and stuff like that and do these deals where they'd get suppliers and stuff like that. But now they couldn't do that anymore. And they said, well, how can we do it?
Yeah.
So then they built these B2B marketplaces and said, fine, I'll sell you my widgets, but just online. We don't need to meet in Paris anymore, kind of thing.
And then it gave them an opportunity to also like increase the efficiency and the speed of all of that. Like which before, as you said, they might prefer gather, into
get a nice dinner, let's get a glass of wine, kind of thing.
So it goes, that's cool. But now that we can do it, okay, so let's tackle this thing and let's make it like much more efficient, much bigger, and how we can help also all the SMEs, that we don't talk right now, right? So how we can expand also our market. So I think that definitely makes sense. And yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, in the insurance space and in the B2B commerce space, but also, on my Asia Tech podcast, we often hear that the amount of digital transformation that took place and that was forced on them essentially by COVID in the past 2 years is like 8 years worth of work normally.
Okay.
But it just had to get accelerated. And this corroborates that.
Completely.
Yeah, this just says, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But I think also like it's not the first time that we hear about B2B marketplace. Like
No, it's not.
we heard a few companies doing that before. So like in my mind, I feel like maybe those companies that we heard before, like they tried, like they just show that it works, and
Right.
now they accelerate a lot.
Had to.
Right. And like
Had to.
and now like all of this money goes into those companies that started that like 2 years ago or 3 years ago or more, right? And like and then all of this money comes and say like, okay, we can have made this thing that's a great idea, just much bigger and much faster. That's why like the number is so huge.
Right. And this also fits into our thesis, right? E-commerce isn't solved yet.
Yeah.
What does it mean? It means that there are so many places and so many pockets where e-commerce hasn't even been established.
Mm-hmm.
And this B2B is one of those places at scale.
Like I just have an idea, because
Go
like
for it.
if now we have a marketplace that connects the retailer to the supplier, why not the consumer go buy that directly on the marketplace? Why do we still need the retailer to sell the goods? Is it because we really like the human interaction and going to the shop, or is it just the next step?
So there's a massive generational shift that's going to take place. Right? Think about it. Yuming's what, 20? How old are you? 20?
Yep, 19.
19, right? No, but think about it. So
Mhm.
since she was 16 and a half years old, there's been COVID,
Right.
right? So when I think about when I was 16 and a half, what did I do? I went to a mall for everything. I drove to the mall. That was the exciting thing about getting a car. Now, she lives in a big city, so it may not be driving a car, but still, why go down to Orchard Road, right? And if all of your shopping experiences when you first start getting access to money, because your parents aren't giving you money for shopping when you're 12, but when you're 16, they might. But if all of that money gets spent by clicking on things, that's just going to accelerate. Who wants to go to a mall anyway, right? And you can see it in the numbers. But then on top of that, the B2B thing. So when she starts doing business, she's not going to fly to China to do business. She's going to go to a B2B marketplace. All that stuff is going to change, I think. Is that fair, Yuming?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I think. This is so interesting.
Definitely. I really want to see like how it's going to reshape how suppliers and retailers are working together.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's going to be a massive change in
Massive
the next few
shift.
years.
Massive.
Let's see.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So I noticed that key factors online shoppers look for are definitely price, quality, and the convenience.
Sure.
So an online marketplace is a website where customer can find different brands of products coming from multiple vendors or shops showcased on the same platform. So they can browse through the various options available and select what appeals to them the most for a reasonable cost. And it's also very convenient with the doorstep delivery and the feature of shopping carts where customers can monitor the prices of products that they are interested in.
Right. And the same thing's going to happen in the B2B space, right? You're going to have
exactly,
supplier A and supplier B before competed on their relationships.
Yeah,
But
right
now internally,
but that's in the marketplace.
they just put it in the marketplace and
Yeah.
go, this one's a little bit cheaper and the
Yeah.
same quality. Done.
And also add some pricing thing that will tell you like when the price drops.
Yeah.
And then you can say, okay, like I plan to buy 2 microphones, but not now, in 2 months. So like let's just follow these 2 or 3 shops, and once there's a price drop or somebody does a promotion or something, like let me know.
But also think about recommendation engines that never existed before in the B2B space, right? In other words, you bought 2 microphones and people that bought 2 microphones also bought this audio digital converter thing. So all that's going to happen too, and it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, let's see. That's very interesting.
Let's see.
Let's see what's going to be shaping.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yep, so here are some examples. Yeah, Ula is a wholesale marketplace that provides a solution for small businesses that have difficulty to source for inventory. So it's a one-stop shop for fast-moving consumer goods, fresh food and staples, as well as apparel.
Interesting.
And apart from this, yeah, they also provide working capital to micro retailers.
Interesting.
Yeah, and she
But
says
makes
that
sense.
kind of in passing, right? But they're providing microfinancing.
Yeah.
Right, which means they also become a little bit of a fintech company.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like it made sense, right? It was
Perfect.
Like
Because you know all the supply and demand dynamics.
you know all of that. And so
Yeah.
I don't know how this marketplace works, if they are only on the software part or if they buy the inventory themselves and we resell it. Like I don't know exactly what they do, but in both cases, like they have all the data, so like they know Kendall like was gonna sell or not and when. So
Exactly.
so they don't take too much risk to as well provide financing options and maybe more flexible.
It's less risky, right?
things.
Because they're
Yeah,
so directly involved in the
exactly.
business. I love this kind of model.
And plus they can also like lower the risk by spreading it across
Sure.
all the retailers, like
Sure,
right.
sure, sure.
If like for example your marketplace and you operate in all Southeast Asia, like if you have one product who sell good in Thailand, in this country, and you have one retailer who doesn't pay back in Thailand, like that's fine, you can just sell that into Vietnam or something else, right?
Right.
So at the end of the day, like you can really spread the risk and then make it easier for everybody, I guess.
Absolutely. Yu Ming?
Yes.
So what is Label V
So-
doing? That's French, right?
Yes, it's a French
Always
online
some French.
supermarket.
I'm frowning inside.
Always some French somewhere in every episode.
I always feel like this is where I
Yes.
should just disconnect my stuff, just walk out the door,
Let's do it in French, Mike.
get in French, and leave. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, so they offer fresh products, packages, goods, basically everything that you can find in a supermarket. Yeah, they even have offers that you can see in a physical supermarket, and they offer their products, their orders to be delivered in less than 3 hours.
Where are they based?
Yeah, in France.
In France.
Do they connect the rural farmers, for example, to the cities? Like, are they doing this kind of stuff as well?
I'll buy you some cheese, okay? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If I'm not wrong, it's Europe based
okay.
only.
Yeah, because like I remember when I was living in this very nice town in the Alps, in the south of France, and the biggest issue that these farmers had was how do we ensure the cold transportation of my
Right.
cheese to all the customers that
Yeah.
are 45 minutes away, 1 hour away, or
And
2
they
hours
want
away.
the product, right?
They want the product, but we cannot have 25 trucks going all day to ship
No.
one by one
It's
the cheese.
inefficient. It's
It's
inefficient.
completely inefficient, and we cannot make it work
Profitable.
on the economic side. So how do we do that, right? So that's what that was the biggest issue on the backend operation side, right? So I saw them opening stores in the city and shipping to the stores, and then people go to the stores and buy, which is not e-commerce, but that's a way to get cheese inside the town.
Right.
But I was always wondering like how we can do that at scale online, and how we can handle these shipping parts, for cheese and all this kind of products. So if they're doing that, Label V, that's great. Because I think they definitely fixed a very, very big issue, and they are going to help farmers a lot. So like really, it can be life changing for them. Definitely.
Well, look, we talked about this earlier, right?
Mhm.
If e-commerce is starting to focus on rural areas,
yeah.
that's where the farmers are anyway.
Yeah.
At some point, it's going to get to this. If it
Yeah.
hasn't already,
Yeah.
it's going to get there.
Yeah, but that can really change the life of farmers.
Absolutely.
And like just help them also have more leverage against global distribution brand. Like like how many times I don't know if you have this problem, I don't know, in Japan or in Thailand or in the US, but in France, for example, the farmers making milk, they don't have a lot of distribution.
So the milk fails.
So
No?
then exactly, like the big supermarket, they just do whatever they want with the price.
Right.
So they just get the price down and price down and price down. Plus they don't pay them now; they pay them in 3 months, in 6 months. Like, and half the farmers doesn't have any leverage.
Right.
Then it can only follow what people tell them to do.
Yeah.
So if tomorrow, thanks to a marketplace like this, I can sell direct to consumer, that change the whole game. Then they're gonna have much more leverage. They're gonna be able to raise their price, make more money, and that can be a game changer, I think.
It can be, actually.
Yeah.
Remind me to talk to you about this later. I have an idea.
Sure.
Go ahead, Yuming.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So our next category.
I think I know what's your
commerce.
idea. Sorry,
you do, don't you? Because we know how to help them.
Yeah.
We do. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So it targets both online sellers and shoppers. It has raised a value of $976 million in funds, and these funds are going to aspects such as assisting emerging brands to get their products to the mass market, or connecting suppliers to sellers to consumers through social commerce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the difference? What's
So-
the change in this category?
Yeah, sorry.
What's the change? What's the percentage change
Um
from our last
exactly
report?
there wasn't a
But-
amount.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in a way, it makes sense too, right? In other words, the commerce itself is becoming more social. So even if it was really small last time, it's now almost $1 billion
Yeah,
of
that's
investment.
huge.
We know that because we've heard these stories anecdotally, right?
Yeah.
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 Can you show us the example companies that you have? I would like to know what kind of product or services they are building.
Yeah. So I have this company called Bremore. It's a social commerce platform that has raised $25 million to, yeah, and it aims to connect brands, mostly women who started their own e-commerce businesses,
Okay.
to consumers through the platform. Yeah, it provides anyone the opportunity to start their own business on this platform.
Okay.
And what's
Yep.
Facily?
Yeah, Vasily is basically is a social commerce platform to provide more inclusive e-commerce experience that pays producers more, and they sell cheaper to those who buy products via its gamified app who connects consumers to the best prices through group purchases.
And where are they based?
Um, can I check for you?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
What do you have in mind?
I just want to learn more about this idea,
Yeah.
right? Because group shopping is something that Groupon started,
Yeah, that's
10 or 15 years ago, whatever
yeah.
it was, right? And then it moved through all these other companies. Living Social did the same thing. But the market's changed since then. So I'm curious now how they use social commerce to enhance your ability to form a group, which they may not have been able to do
Okay.
10 years ago.
I see what you mean. Yeah, the way Groupon market their offer was very different
Very different
from what we can do right now.
today,
Right.
right? And a lot of companies, restaurants in particular, found that if they did a Groupon deal, they lost a ton of money because they never got the follow-on business, right? It was
Okay.
kind of like a marketing tool, but I want to
Okay.
see if it's changed. Anyway, do we know where they're based?
Yeah. So they are based in Brazil.
Interesting.
Brazil. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think South America. We should definitely get some companies from South America
Absolutely, because
on the podcast.
we haven't had that yet.
Yeah, we haven't had yet. But also, I think it's very different, very growing, and very interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Go ahead.
Yep. So for Facili, apart from their group purchases, they also offer like a variety of payment options apart from the usual credit or debit card. So it's good for those who don't have one.
Okay.
Right. Maybe cash on delivery and other stuff
Yeah.
like that. Interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah. So another example of company is The List. It's a social commerce app that connects consumers with hard to find global luxury goods.
I love this idea. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That made sense, right?
Well, because it's hard to find stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
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 Because
So
the
the
whole
app aim.
sorry, the whole
Yeah,
world is like so
sorry.
boutiqued and everybody shops at the exact same stores, right? And I think people want to move back to this idea of, hey, look at this thing that I got. You can't. There are only 3 of these made. You can't get this anywhere, kind of thing.
And if you want to set it set an end, then maybe you don't have a lot of options. So
Right.
then you go to the list, and then you find a group of people who are interested into this unique product, and you can sell it much easier, right? And I guess they act as an escrow in the middle, to ensure that payment goes smoothly. Maybe shipping as well if you operate globally. So yeah, like that made sense to me.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, we need something like that. We need somebody in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the app, they aim to help retail stores and brands join e-commerce and use multiple APIs to sync and digitalize their inventory to create a product catalog. So they have features such as live streaming, and they can customers can upload a photo of an item to source the product that they are looking for at the best possible price.
Yeah. I like it. Okay.
Okay. Yep. So the next category is DTC websites. These target only online shoppers and they raise $541 million.
$541 million. Go ahead.
Yep. So fundings in this category are generally raised to grow and expand the company. So DTC websites are used because they are independent websites built outside of marketplaces, and entrepreneurs choose this as it allows them to stand out in the crowd, and they are able to control the specific features of their website, layout of the website, marketing campaigns, etc. So companies come up with creative ideas that online shoppers like, such as subscription boxes, healthy or nutritious food, customizable or sustainable items, and virtual services.
Yeah. And look, groceries
Yeah.
from the farm. This is your thing.
Yeah, that's my thing. And what is the difference with the previous research? I think it's almost the same, no? If I remember correctly.
Um, give me a second.
Yeah, I think it was not too far from this number, but also like at the same time, like, that's 500 million announced into startups raising funds, right? But the last year would have equity as well would have acquired for 500 million,
I was
right?
thinking the same
So like
thing.
in total, that's like $1 billion invested into that.
Because either that it means that this is all equity, which I don't believe.
Yeah, no, that's
my
definitely
point,
not
though, right?
not equity, right?
Right.
So like.
Yeah.
Because like when you check that, like very Shopify was worth like I don't know. Last time I checked,
something trillion billion dollars or some gigantic
like,
number.
last time I checked, maybe a few weeks ago, it was like 180 million.
Billion.
Yeah, 180 billion. Sorry.
Okay.
And then the number two is eCommerce, which is like something around like 3 or 4 billion. Right.
Right. There's nothing in between.
So the gap is so huge. Then you get Wix, which is 10 billion. Again, sorry, we launched also an e-commerce offer.
Right.
But there are like a lot of features, and as you said, like this is what people want. So like, it completely made sense that we need more platforms, right? And actually, I can see that every day on my own company.
Do we know anybody that runs a platform for e-commerce?
Dr. Dave is the best one.
I've heard of that actually.
But yeah, but like I can definitely see that, and everything that you say, like that sellers want more customer experience, custom feature, like subscription and all of that. You cannot sell a subscription on Amazon, for example. But subscription is an awesome way to increase your lifetime value, right? So that's something you need a platform like Dr. Tech or any others to be able to do that. So
do you give your sellers the right to build subscriptions into their stuff?
They can. Actually, we have.
And do they use that a lot?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah, because then you can use it as well in creative ways. Like for example, we have some merchants who offer the shipping as a subscription. So like buy a subscription with me, like for example, like a $15 monthly or yearly subscription, and you get free shipping.
So that's like Amazon Prime. They're trying to Amazon Prime
like
themselves.
Amazon Prime themselves.
Interesting.
And when you sell on Amazon and your customer pay Amazon Prime, you don't get any money out of that. So
isn't that another idea? In other words, build Amazon Prime. In other words, if Extend is Apple Care for every other e-commerce company, shouldn't there be like an Amazon Prime for every e-commerce company?
Maybe can do.
We should write this down.
Let's write that down.
Wait, Yuming just went to found this company. How did that happen?
But yeah, like there's definitely like a lot of things to be built, and like
that's interesting.
Even if Shopify is big, there's still a lot of markets where they don't operate a lot. Like for example, I'm thinking about Southeast Asia. Like Shopify is not a big market for Shopify. So there's still a lot of rooms for a lot of people into it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no Amazon in Thailand. There's 70 million people here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, Yuming?
Yes. Okay. So here are some companies that I thought was interesting. So firstly is No Issue. It's a global packaging platform, and it offers custom products from tissue papers to cards, tapes, and stickers, and they are 100% sustainable.
Neat.
Yeah. And another company is Nix, who raised 100 million funding to create more healthy snacks. It is a food tech company that creates healthy ice creams, snack bars, and confectionery products.
So where are they based?
We have to invite them on the show.
Yeah, where are they based?
Give me a second.
No problem.
Yeah.
Because the idea for me, right, is to just build this constellation of companies where we just get their product.
Yeah, we can as well, right?
That's ice cream and snacks. Who doesn't want that?
But also, like talking about the packaging platform, I remember seeing a French startup. I don't remember the name. That's such a shame. But what they were doing is that they were selling you the packaging, but then the end customer can take the packaging, put it back into his mailbox, and then the same package is going to be reused for another shipping.
But the packaging company picks it up, not the e-commerce seller, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
And I think this is so great, like, because at the end of the day, like, it really helps the environment, it reduces waste.
Yeah, because think about it. All you do with that box,
you just like ship it,
throw it away. You just throw it away.
And then
what's the point, right?
Yeah. So like, the idea was just to make boxes that are a little bit better in terms of quality and just reuse them.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I
look
think
in the
that's
corner over there. We've got a ton of boxes. I can't throw it away.
yeah, and why not? We should send them back,
Back.
to the manufacturer, and they can use that for another customer.
Yeah,
right?
or
Like,
pay us for it.
yeah, or pay us for that. Like, yeah, for sure.
Okay. So you mean where's Nix based?
Yeah. So they are based in Sweden,
Sweden, okay.
Sweden.
Europe.
We can get them on the show.
We should invite them. Let's
We
do
should
it.
have known from the ice cream thing. Only a cold country makes great ice cream. Okay, you mean go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So it's our last category, tools and features. So this category targets both online sellers and shoppers, raising $1.6 billion funds.
Wow.
And fundings raised are mainly used to work on warehouse automation, technology such as AR, tools to improve customers' online shopping experience, for example, convenient checkouts or the live streaming shopping experience. So companies also develop e-commerce tools for online sellers to better manage their business and provide a better shopping experience on their website. So for example, tools for simple checkout processes,
Yeah.
marketing tools, inventory management, customer behavioral analysis, finance management. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are the companies that
Yeah.
do this? What are the companies that you found?
Um, one company that I found is Seven Bridges.
Interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So they present user with optimized recommendations for how to move goods to a customer. So the platform unifies all the logistic data and processes and makes them accessible through a single simple API.
That's cool.
And this platform will allow sellers to have a total visibility over their entire logistics. Yeah.
Super cool. And what are the other ones? What is
Yeah. So the other one is NTWRK.
network?
It's a live streaming shopping platform which aims to build and grow the live streaming shopping experience in the US, where viewers can interact with the host, other viewers, and purchase products at the same time. They also feature product drops to build up anticipation and excitement, and embrace live events, virtual festivals as another way to engage audiences.
So it's like shopping is fun, right?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it goes back to the idea that we had, I think, at the beginning of this show. I think if people are following us since the beginning and they listen to our episode number 2,
They would know
3,
this was
or
coming.
4, yeah, we talk about that. And I remember that you had a very great idea at this time. Like you said, like, what about brands who are live shopping native? Like, what about we start live shopping from the beginning?
From the beginning.
And we create a brand based on that, right?
Right.
Like created the YouTubers and all of this new business model and
Right.
let's say jobs. So what about we create brands that are natively live shopping? That can be very interesting.
Dude, we should have an investment fund for e-commerce.
We should have an investment fund.
We
yeah,
have
for-
Yuming do the research.
Yeah.
We get the companies, we invest in them. Everybody's a billionaire.
Let's do that.
Yuming, are you in or you out?
Yeah, definitely.
She's in. I knew it.
So now we're gonna receive tons of inquiries to invest into our fund.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
Nice. Who has time for that? Okay, Yuming, go ahead. This is really interesting.
Yeah.
Network.
Yeah.
And you can see in the name of the company what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay. What's Voila?
Yeah. Voila is a startup building infrastructure for social commerce. So social media content creators can enter the exact URLs for the products featured on their social media accounts. Then Voila will then scan through the content to detect items and generate affiliate links. It also analyzes the scene and generate a list of similar recommended products at the
interesting.
different price points. And they also generate affiliate links to those items as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
If that company's not based in France, I don't know what is. It's called Voila.
Another French company. Another French name at least.
Really interesting.
But like, look, like this is $1.6 billion. And does like the tools and feature that we are building, is it for DTC brands or does it also work with Amazon and other marketplaces?
It's mainly for social media accounts. Yeah.
Only for social media,
Like
which
Instagram.
is more DTC than the marketplace model.
Yeah.
So I would add that to the kind of like money invested to help the brands go direct to their consumers.
Yeah.
right?
So this is like 3 categories of one,
Yeah.
right? It's tools and features, but it's social commerce
Mhm.
and direct to consumer.
Yeah. I think
Right.
like there is like actually like I think we saw that in the last few years, right?
Definitely.
Like businesses want to own their communication. They
Yep.
want to own their marketing channel. They want to build the brand just so it value their business more, right? So at the end of the day, like, we're gonna try to go direct to consumers, and this kind of tool, again, with the money invested, that definitely help them manage this process, get it bigger. And at the end of the day, that's a smart move, I guess.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So there are some trends that I noticed while doing this research is that people are definitely trying to do B2B marketplaces
Yeah.
where there are many SMEs that have difficulty sourcing supplies. And as a result, they waste a lot of time on this process. So many companies want to find a solution for them. This also includes logistic firms that offer delivery options to rural areas, ensuring that businesses in the rural areas are also able to have access to the same services. And warehouse automation is another trend that can reduce human labor, increase efficiency of logistic services. Automated quick commerce companies
Yeah.
such as drones or robots, which is also a form of contactless delivery since it is the pandemic now, as well as the crowded market of e-commerce aggregators buying and scaling of brands.
So yeah, I think like for B2B marketplaces, it's very new that we talk about that. Like, I mean, at this scale of investment,
Right.
for warehouse automation, it's not new, but I feel the numbers of orders and stores
Just accelerating
it's
everywhere, right?
so much. Like, we just need more companies to help all of those
Yeah.
companies, right? So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it doesn't surprise me at all, actually, right?
No, if you're in the global logistics business,
Yeah.
you're in the right place. And that
Yeah.
includes warehousing and all the stuff that
Yeah.
goes around building the most efficient.
We just need more.
Yeah, we just need more of
we
them.
just need more of them.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that's all I have for this research.
Okay. Can we end with just putting up the first slide, the one with the 8 categories on it?
Yes, sure.
I think that would be a great way to end. Just so everybody that watches can see and just can get reminded. First one.
Okay.
Actually, the second one is better, right? Because it breaks it down into 2 categories. Perfect. This was really awesome.
Yeah, super great.
Really, really awesome. And it was great to have somebody who actually didn't just do the research, but understood the subtleties behind the research and also identified the trends.
Yeah.
Right?
Super
I mean,
great.
this was really, really great.
Yes.
Yeah, really great stuff. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you, Yuming Pu, right? Nyang Polytechnic. Both of them get a little bit of credit for this. Yuming will take most of it, but this was really interesting stuff.
Yeah, and like now we know where the money is going, right, into e-commerce and what is being built. So that's pretty cool.
It's also given me a ton of ideas.
For sure.
Really. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Yumin.
Yes. Thank you so much.